Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? You doing well? You doing swell? I'm doing well, and I'm doing swell because I just got back from the theater seeing a movie that put a smile on my face straight off the bat and kept that smile on my face throughout the entire 2 hours and 10 minutes, 10-minute runtime. It's a very short movie. 2 hours and 10 minutes. And I had a blast throughout this movie, and it was very much needed considering I saw some heinous shit in theaters in the last couple weeks. Now, I've seen a couple of good movies here and there. Like, Jigsaw is not a good movie, but I was entertained. I wasn't bored, okay? But I saw stuff like Boo 2. No. Geostorm. No. The Snowman. Only the Brave. Great film, but it does not put a smile on your face. It is a great movie, but when I left the movie, I wanted to murder myself. So these are movies that aren't something that's like, yeah, ooh, thumbs up. I mean, Only the Brave is a thumbs up movie. It's a great film, one of my favorites of this year. But it's not going to make you go and like, yeah, I'm gonna go on adventures or some shit. No, it's not. It's gonna make you want to just lay in your bed until you die. But yeah, so let's talk about this movie, which of course is a movie that was really entertaining. No, that's Jigsaw. Jigsaw will not be returning for Avengers Infinity War. A movie that was very entertaining. Of course, I'm talking about Thor Ragnarok. Not Jigsaw. Again, Jigsaw will not be returning for Avengers Infinity War. Get it? Because at the end of the movies, they always say, like, Doctor Strange will return for more money or whatever. So they do that in this movie, by the way. They say that at the end, and they hint towards Avengers Infinity War, of course. But this movie was so much fun. I had a blast in this film. Is it the best Marvel film out there? Well, there's about 300 of them, so I mean, it's hard to say, really. But it's definitely not the best one, that's for sure. But it is one of the more entertaining ones, considering most of them are very entertaining. This one is definitely one of the more entertaining ones. This is straight up a romp. It is a romp of a film. It's just a fun little time. Doesn't really like, it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when it comes to the plot of the entire Marvel series with Thanos and stuff like that. It really is. It's a singular story that just builds the characters inside the movie. It's not building some kind of universe or whatever. It's not building up to the next Avengers or something. This is its own little film, and it's definitely a romp. It is a fun, colorful bag of Skittles. It is a fun little time, and I highly recommend it if you want to go check it out, because the last Thor movie was a little bit more, I don't know, it had its fair share of funny moments, I guess, or what was supposed to be funny moments at least, but it was definitely more dour, and the villain was just like so bland, and Thor was still not a character that was really, really interesting. Like in the first movie, I liked Thor, and Avengers 2, I liked him, but in the second Thor movie, I remember him just being kind of bland. Loki was definitely the best part of both of those films, the first two Thor movies. But here we get a brand new Thor, pretty much a completely different Thor. You know that short little movie they put out, Team Thor or whatever it's called, where he's hanging out with his a roommate or whatever. If you ever saw that, that's the Thor you're getting in this movie. You're getting straight up comedic Thor. You're getting Avengers Age of Ultron ×2 Thor. There you go. And I always felt like Thor worked better as a comedic character, because Thor is just a stoic like guy that's just like, I'm not gonna follow the rules in the first movie. And the second movie, I don't even remember what his character arc was. Did he have a character arc? He was just like, I'm gonna defeat the dark elf guy. Die. All right. Oh, they're going through teleports or something. Portals or whatever. I remember that part. That was cool. That was like it. And when I have to say that was cool, then you know it wasn't a completely satisfying movie. But this film really had a lot of great stuff and really, really funny moments. And Chris Hemsworth really is a really good actor when it comes to comedic timing. He is really good in this movie. There's a lot of times where he's just like being awkward, and not like awkward like he was in the original Thor, where he's like slamming the cup on the ground. Oh, I like this, another, or whatever. But he's just like being kind of like the awkward guy. Like he's like trying to like look cool by leaning up on a wall, and he's not doing it well or whatever. And there's times where he throws something at a wall, bounces back, hits him in the face. There's a lot of really silly pratfalls and slapstick comedy in this movie that actually does work. It's like if you mix Thor with the Three Stooges. You just mix all Three Stooges together and give them a hammer and a cape, and they have thunder powers. That's pretty much what Thor is in this movie. He's just one big joke, but it works. It really does work. His character still is serious at times, don't get me wrong. Like, his character isn't just treated as the joke the entire movie, but when it comes to the comedy aspect, his character is either screaming and looking like a fool, or falling down, or getting beat up, or whatever, and it's funny. I'm sorry, it is. Don't get me wrong, there are moments where he's a badass. Like, there's 2 moments that are really, really good, where he looks badass and he's doing badass stuff, and it's in the beginning and it's at the end, and they at both times they're playing that Led Zeppelin Immigrant song. That's what it's called, by the way. I need to take a drink. And both times it's great. Yes, I'm drinking a Slurpee, by the way. Sponsor me. Sponsor me, 7-Eleven. I drink all these, okay? I love these. And it's all melted, though. The non-melting Slurpee. That's the next invention, okay? But, alright. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. They're playing that Led Zeppelin Immigrant song, and it's really, really good. Especially when the song is actually going with the music. It's, like, very well synced. Every time he hits something, it actually fits with the song and stuff. I really like that when they actually pick a song. They don't just pick some random song like, I don't know, Suicide Squad would, or even maybe some Guardians of the Galaxy song choices. Like, they don't just pick a song and just, like, have that play over this thing that's happening. They actually implement it well with what's going on with some of the action. I thought that was very well done. The visuals, oh my god, it is a beautiful looking movie. There are shots in this film, and you see it in the trailer when, like, all the Valkyries are attacking Hela at one point. It's a flashback in the movie, but you see it in the trailer. It's really visually gorgeous. And look at it. Look at the poster. Marvel is usually, hey, I love Marvel, but Marvel usually fucks up posters. Like the Spider-Man Homecoming poster, the one where it's all the floating heads. Not that great. The Doctor Strange one was great. Guardians of the Galaxy was alright. That was a good poster. The Captain America one was okay too. Iron Man 3 poster was really but a lot of these posters, they're kind of hit, or just miss completely. This is probably my favorite Marvel poster ever. This one looks gorgeous. I love this one. The Doctor Strange one was great too, but they kind of take that same idea for the Doctor Strange poster, and they kind of make it work better here. It looks very, very, very 80s, very, very trippy looking, very colorful. It's a very nice looking poster. Even has, look at the Thor Ragnarok, the Ragnarok font, or actually I think the Thor font's the same. Let me see. Yeah, it's the same. But, like, that's very much like like an old 80s, like, retro video or something like that, that kind of font you would see. And it really does work well for the movie, too, because the movie definitely has a lot of 80s stuff going on. Like, there's a point in the movie where Thor gets captured. You see in the trailer. He gets captured by Tessa Thompson's character, who is a Valkyrie. And she... I forgot her name. Oh my god, I'm sorry. But she captures them and sells them to Jeff Goldblum's character, who is the Grandmaster. He's the guy that leads, like, he pretty much owns this entire city or something like that. And he just buys people to have them fight and entertain the crowd. Like, he just has a gladiatorial arena. And that's when Thor meets Hulk. These aren't spoilers because it's straight up in the trailer. But I'm not even at the spoiler section yet, because I'm just talking about stuff. If it was shown in the trailer, I'm talking about it, okay? Because if they say, yeah, screw it, you could see it in the trailer, then I'm going to talk about it, like if it was just meant to be known. But anyway, Thor meets Hulk there, but, like, even the Grandmaster's character is very much 80s themed. Like, he has, like, these really, like, colorful robes on and stuff. There's a point where you see him in the background, he's playing, like he's scratching. I don't even know what he's doing. He's, like, playing a piano or something, like an electric piano. And there's a lot of synth in the movie, and in just the visual style, it looks very, very good and very, very fun. It looks fun. I know that's a weird thing to say, but when you're just looking at all these visuals, you're just like, wow, this is really interesting to look at. You just have a good time just looking at the movie. Take a sip. All right. And the relationships between the characters are really, really good. Thor and Hulk, not even Bruce Banner, but Thor and the Hulk himself have really good chemistry. I don't know how that works, but they have really good chemistry. The Hulk is just like this baby, pretty much. He's like a guy that's just like, I want to start a fight all the time. He just wants to destroy stuff. That's all the Hulk wants to do, as you would expect from the Hulk. But here, they play him for laughs a lot, where he's just like, I want to destroy that. And Thor's like, no, don't do it. And he's like, oh, all right, fine. I mean, he doesn't say it like that. He sulks a lot, and he just he has temper tantrums all the time. It's really funny what they do with the Hulk here, and it's a little different from how the Hulk acts in the previous films. I will admit that, just like where Thor is different from the other movies. But again, I'm focusing on this like if it's a romp. It's not gonna be something that you think is gonna be just like canonical. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's not going to be something that I'm looking at and thinking this is how these characters are going to act in future films, especially with Avengers Infinity War, which I think is going to be a little bit more darker. At least I hope it is, because they're building up like it's going to be this huge thing. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. I apologize. That's what happens when you talk a lot without any breaks. But yeah. So his character, or they're both of their characters, are definitely different from their previous outings, you know, in Thor or when Hulk shows up in the Avengers movies. But it's very, very fun to watch those two together, and it's a really interesting dynamic they have. Tessa Thompson's character is really good. She's not a love interest, which I was happy to see. Thor, even in this movie, mentions early on in the movie that he broke it off with Natalie Portman's character, like really quick. He just like, yeah, I dumped her. Okay. So I really thought Tessa Thompson was going to be the love interest, and I'm happy to say that didn't happen. I should just say this whole thing is a spoiler discussion or whatever, but that's not really a spoiler. I feel like that's not a spoiler. As long as I don't tell you exactly what happens with some of the characters, then I feel like I have free reign pretty much. And I don't feel like that's a big spoiler to say that. Actually, me personally, I would like to know that ahead of time, because I don't want to watch this movie going, uh-oh, they're going to have love interest. I mean, they kind of hint towards that a little bit, but not too much. The characters are really interesting. Tessa Thompson is really good in the movie, even though there's some times where her character's a little too, I don't know, macho. Like, considering all the characters are so goofy and dumb, like Jeff Goldblum is he's straight up just Jeff Goldblum with just a little bit like blue paint on his chin and a weird hairstyle, but he's straight up Jeff Goldblum. And all these other characters, there's a character that gets introduced who's like made out of rocks named Korg, who's actually voiced by the director I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Taika Waititi, which I hope that's how you pronounce it, because that sounds funny when you say it. Taika Waititi. Say it like as one word. Taika Waititi, who actually has made stuff in the past that I actually really liked. If you ever told me the guy that directed Eagle vs. Shark would direct a Thor movie, I would have never guessed it. But he also did The Hunt for the Wilder People and What We Do in the Shadows. He's done some great movies. So when I heard he was doing this, I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad he's getting more high-profile stuff. I hope he does still some of the smaller stuff, because his smaller stuff is really good. But I was looking forward to this because of the director, really, and I was glad to see he was actually in it too, as a voice, sure, but he's in it, and that character's pretty funny, Korg. He's kind of it's weird because he shows up and you're like, uh-oh, it's like this big hulking dude that's made out of rock, so you're expecting like a deep voice, and he starts talking, he's like, hey man, how you doing? It's funny in that aspect, and his character is pretty funny for the most part. He doesn't show up too much, but when he does, he says some funny stuff, like he's just like, hey man, we got a ship over there, you want to get on? He just says things like that. He's not even really trying to be funny. He's just saying things in a comedic way. And like an accidental comedic way. Just like, that's just how his character is. He's just like, hey man, you want to get on this boat? And we're about to leave. You know, there's some stuff like that I really like. So I really like the characters. I really like some of the roles. Jeff Goldblum is excellent in here. First time he shows up, he actually starts to steal the movie. Like, he starts to. He's like stealing it, and then they cut his like scene, and then he doesn't show up for like another like 10 or 15 minutes to give you some breathing room, because man, he was stealing the show when he showed up. Like, he was hilarious. Everybody else is great. Like, overall, everybody's really, really good in this film. The only problem I had with the movie is, when it comes to the actors, is Mark Ruffalo's character feels more slapsticky, and when he's Bruce Banner, because he's not always Hulk. The Hulk, I really like what they did with him, but when he's Bruce Banner, it's a little bit more slapsticky. Like, his character is also there just to be there, like, so they could say Mark Ruffalo's in the movie, I guess, because if it was just all Hulk, then what's the point? No reason to even get Mark Ruffalo at that point. But his character, I really like Bruce Banner as like the straight man here, and he's not really. He's more like the fish out of water, but he's like still more comedic. I don't know. It's weird, but his character is different than he was in the other ones, but not in a good way. Like how Thor and Hulk and some of these other characters were different in a good way. This one, not so much. So that one didn't work out so well. But overall, when it comes to the action and visuals and direction and writing and comedy, it really does knock it out of the park. Don't get me wrong, it's not the funniest movie out there. There are a couple of jokes here and there that do not hit, or when they're like jokes that you could tell were supposed to be huge jokes and you're just kind of chuckling. You could tell there was like supposed to be big ones because there's like a nice like 3 seconds of silence right after the joke happens, and you could tell like they thought that was gonna really just stir up the audience quite loudly, because my audiences are ridiculous and some of them are extremely loud. I went to go see freaking Happy Death Day a couple weeks ago, and whew, oh man, every time you would show the babyface guy, the one with the babyface mask, every time everybody would scream in the theater. I'm like, Jesus Christ, really? This is what's scaring you? This movie's not even scary. It's not even really meant to be scary. It's mostly a comedy. I don't know. It was weird. But, yeah, so that's all I really want to talk about in my review, I guess. So if I had to give this a score, you know what? I'm going to save the score for the end, because I know I'm going to talk about some of the spoiler stuff, and I'm going to start deciding maybe it should be lower, maybe it should be higher. But, if you really want to check it out, go check it out. If you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It looks gorgeous. Definitely see it in IMAX. I didn't see it in IMAX personally, but I can tell you right now, this movie would look amazing in IMAX. Especially when they start playing that immigrant song while Thor's messing people up. Oh man, that would look so awesome. The action in here is some of the best in any of the Marvel films. I will definitely say that. And the characters are really likable. The special effects look great. The visuals themselves, the environments, some of the shots, oh, gorgeous. It's one of the best looking movies in this series, I guess you could say. And I'm talking about Marvel as a whole series. But yeah, now let's talk about some of the spoiler stuff. Okay. All right. There you go. I do this when I'm transitioning to the next segment. Also, I'm out of breath because I've been talking too much and it's hot. So, whew, okay. I'm fat. Okay, what can I tell you? I also have asthma. I have bad asthma. No, I'm just fat. I'm not going to blame my asthma. No, I'm just fat. That's why I'm out of breath. All right. So now I want to talk about some stuff that will definitely be spoilerific. Okay, the movie itself, the story itself, I didn't really talk about the story, but the story itself, it's a generic story. It is. You have Odin's character who was... I guess cast out at the end of the second Thor film. He wasn't cast out, but he was like captured by Loki, and Loki starts impersonating him on what's the world's called? What is the world called? Asgard. Jesus. So he casts him out and he puts him into some retirement home on Earth, and they both Loki and Thor have to go find him in the beginning of the film. And once they find him, Odin's like pretty much he's done. I don't know why he's done. He said he's like, I can't live anymore. I'm dying. Why? Why are you dying? I'm dead. And then he just like turns into gold dust and fucks off. Like, all right. And before he dies, he says, she's coming. Your sister, Hela, played by Cate Blanchett, who I didn't mention in the actual review. I mean, I should have really, but I want to mention her here. She's an intimidating enough villain, but she is overall not... She's intimidating and she's great in the movie and hot as hell. First time you see her, I'm like, oh God. Like, she's gorgeous. But I know some people will be like, what? You're weird. I don't know why I'm weird. Cate Blanchett's always been hot, in my opinion. But, just like Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore has always been hot. That's just my opinion. That's just how I feel. Even now, Julianne Moore is hot. And she's like almost 60. I don't care. I'm weird. But that's just how I feel, all right? That's just how I feel. Anyway, Cate Blanchett is a good villain here, and definitely better than whoever the fuck it was in Thor 2. I don't even know his name. What was it, Malekith or something like that? Or Malachi, or I don't know. dark elf dude. She's definitely better than her or him. But anyway, you find out that she is actually the sister of both Loki and Thor. And she is the goddess of death, Hela. She shows up, destroys Thor's hammer immediately, leaves him for dead pretty much, and she goes to Asgard and starts wrecking shit. Another character I forgot to mention was Carl Urban's character, Scourge, I think his name was, which, great name if that is actually, yeah, I think it's Scourge, or Scourge, I think it's Scourge, who actually ends up being kind of Hela's lackey, but only because he doesn't want to die himself, because she shows up, and this is one of my problems with the movie, I'm going to tell you right here. She shows up and immediately kills two of Thor's friends from the original 2 movies. Remember, I forgot their names. I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't remember their names. But the Ray Stevenson's character, the one that had like all the hair and whatnot, like he had the long hair and stuff. And then the charming looking dude, the one played by Zachary Levi. You know what? Maybe I should look up their names so I don't look at the charming looking dude. You know, the guy, the dreamy looking dude. Shazam. I guess he's Shazam now. So, okay. Hogan. Oh, that's right. Volstagg, who is Ray Stevens' character, and Fandral. They show up really quick, just to, like, I'm not even fucking around. They said screw those characters. They show up, or no, it's actually she shows up to Asgard. They say, "Hey, who are you?" And they get murdered immediately. She throws 2 knives at both of them. Wham! And both of them are like, ugh. And then Ray Stevens' character is like, I'm not dead yet. And she goes, wham! And right through the freaking heart, dead. I was like, Jesus, we actually spent time with those characters in the first one and the second one. Not too much time, but I thought in this one we would get more of those characters. Nope, we got more of them. We got a little bit more until they got murdered without even a little bit of a fight. Now, Hogan's character, who is, he's the Asian one. That's what I'm just going to say. He's the Asian one. He actually puts up somewhat of a fight. He's just like, I'm not going to bow down to you. And he has a little fight with her. She murders the entire Asgard army, like, easily. She murdered them all. That was an awesome action scene, by the way. And she murders Hogan. And freaking Vlad the Impaler's that motherfucker. He just right through the ground, just, like, stuck on a stick. Like, oh, I'm dead as fuck. So he's dead. So they killed all of Thor's companions in the past. Except, where the fuck was Lady Sif? Lady Sif was nowhere to be found in this movie. Did they kill her off in the last movie or something? Or did they, maybe they did. Maybe they killed her off in the last movie. I don't remember. But they didn't mention her. Maybe she was off planet. I don't know. Maybe she was dead. I don't remember. Because in the comics, didn't they have a thing? Thor and Lady Sif, because when they mentioned earlier with Natalie Portman's character not being with Thor anymore, I thought they were kind of building up, maybe he'll get with Lady Sif. But then it seemed like maybe they was going to get with Tessa Thompson's character, but that didn't happen either. So I was like, okay, there's no love interest. That's perfect with me. I am happy to see no love interest in a movie. But I just thought it is weird that they mentioned that earlier in the movie. I guess they only mention it because they couldn't get Natalie Portman back, so they're just like, okay, let's just say it here so people will stop asking us where Natalie Portman is, I guess. They broke up. That's it. I don't know why all of a sudden Thor's just like, hey, I saved you twice from many different things and stuff. You had a freaking infinity gem in you, but you know what? Done. Okay. But, I kind of want to see if she died in the last movie. But, yeah, I just felt like that was really, like, that was like cleanup duty. They were just like cleaning up some of the characters from the past. They kill Odin. Odin dies. He turns into pixie dust. And then all of his friends die. They're like cleaning house. Like there are all these characters no one liked. All right, let's get rid of them. Okay, keep Loki. He's great. Everybody loves Loki. Everybody loves Thor. Obviously, that's the reason why they fucking see in the movies. Let's just kill everybody else. All right, get rid of Fangorn and Volhag and freaking Dundor or whatever their names are. Kill them off. Fuck them. That's what they said. Marvel Studios execs were talking to Taika Waititi, which I really want to know if that's how you pronounce it. I think it's Taika Waititi, but I'm going to say Taika Waititi because that sounds fun. It's fun. Taika Waititi. Say it. Say it as one word. It's fun. Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi. Say it in an accent. Taika Waititi. See? Isn't that fun? But I feel like the Marvel execs were like, what should we do with these characters? And Taika Waititi was just like, fuck them. And they're like, Kevin Feige was like, that's a good idea. Just kill him. Kill him off. Who gives a shit? So that was really strange. I thought that was really, really strange. But for the most part, all the characters were really well done. There's one moment in the movie I really want to talk about that I thought was really funny. Thor gets captured by the people. I forgot what the planet's called, but the Grandmaster's planet, the 80s themed planet. And he gets captured by them, and before he actually meets the Grandmaster, he's subjected to what is pretty much the Willy Wonka scene in the tunnel, where everything's fine, and then Willy Wonka starts going crazy. And he's like, "Oh, where we're going?" Oh, I haven't seen the movie in a little while, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody's favorite scene in that movie is just when Willy Wonka goes fucking insane, and you just see like roaches and cockroaches and stuff like that in the background eating shit. There's a scene like that in this movie, and the only reason why I say there's a scene like that in the movie is because right before Thor's going through this tunnel and everything's okay and it starts going to shit, they start playing the Pure Imagination song from Willy Wonka, which I was like, is that Willy Wonka? Because you could barely hear it at first, and then you start hearing it more. I'm like, that's Pure Imagination. Obviously, they don't have Gene Wilder singing it because that'd be weird. But they start playing it. I'm like, so I'm only assuming the Grandmaster is someone that was from Earth or something like that, because it doesn't make sense. Not like it matters, but it doesn't make sense that would actually be playing. Like, unless that was just playing for us, like the audience, not for Thor. Thor wasn't hearing that. But like, there was a scene where he's going through a tunnel and he starts fucking screaming because it starts getting darker. Like it's getting more violent. It's starting to get red, and like someone's like doing a narration and it's getting really, really freaking loud and violent. He's like, ah, ah, and then it just like cuts away and he's just like in a room with a bunch of people. He's like, and it was just like, I guess it was an illusion or whatever. I thought that was really funny. Another thing I didn't mention, because I thought it would be a spoiler, but I guess not. I think it was in actually one of the TV spots, is Doctor Strange does make an appearance. And if you saw Doctor Strange at the end of the credits of Doctor Strange, there's a scene with Thor where he's drinking and Doctor Strange fills up his glass again. He says, "I'll help you find Odin." That's a scene that's straight from the beginning. It does feel weirdly placed, like it's just like a nice 5-10 minute segment that is pretty funny. It's very slapstickish, where Thor's getting like teleported everywhere, because Doctor Strange can just like move people everywhere and stuff. So he keeps getting teleported everywhere. And he's just like, every time he's like stop it, and Doctor Strange does it again. He falls downstairs or something. It's really funny, but the scene feels really out of place. I guess the whole point was to have Thor meet Doctor Strange. So now we have an Avenger that has actually met Doctor Strange. So I guess Thor will be his Doctor Strange's like connection to the next Avengers film. I'm assuming that's what that was there for. That's the only, I feel like if that's true, that's the only connection that this movie has with Avengers Infinity War. Unless maybe the ending. The ending might have something to do with it, because there's a post-credit scene. There's two of them, actually. The last one is kind of a jokey one with Jeff Goldblum. But the first one has Loki and Thor. They were just successful. They beat Hela. But they destroyed Asgard in the process. But I'll talk about that in a second. But they're just looking out a window, and a giant spaceship shows up, which I think was isn't one of the Dark Elf ships or something like that? Or I've seen that ship before in a movie. I can't remember, one of these Marvel movies. I can't remember. Maybe it was something from Guardians of the Galaxy. I could be wrong. But it was if it was Guardians of the Galaxy, no, that's pretty cool. And that's a nice little way to connect that with that movie. And that will also connect to Avengers. But that was interesting. So maybe those two are connections to Avengers. But it never feels like it's just there just to have a connection. I really felt like that Doctor Strange scene was added there to have those characters meet, and also just have some comedic hijinks, you know, not just so they get add a Avengers crossover thing. And it makes sense to have that scene there anyway, because of course Doctor Strange will be in the next Avengers, and they have to have already met somehow. So, you know, it makes sense. I mean, it would make sense if Doctor Strange meets Black Panther. Like, that doesn't really fit. It makes more sense with Thor, because Thor is more of a magical character than anybody else, really. Maybe what's his name? Vision. Maybe Vision would have been a good choice, actually, thinking about it. But Vision isn't a main character, so yeah, he's not gonna have his own movie, is what I'm saying. But anyway, point is that it was good. It was good. It was a good scene. It felt out of place, but it was still good, so I didn't mind it. What else? The action scenes were great. Thor himself as a character was great. I really liked the entire movie, really. Even some of the moments where I was just like, why did they kill all the side characters? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? Why are they playing pure imagination? I actually love that part, so I definitely did not have a problem with that. Overall, I just really had a good time with this movie. I can't think of anything else that's spoilerific. Really, the movie is a romp, like I said. Like, towards the end of the movie, they beat Hela. Big fucking surprise. But in the process, they actually destroy Asgard because they find out that Ragnarok is a prophecy. It's something that will happen. And even Odin's character shows up again to have like a vision with Thor's character and tells him, hey, Asgard isn't a place, it's the people. So Thor realizes like, okay, then I just bring the people off of Asgard and we'll just leave and let the giant flaming dude that was in the beginning of the movie destroy Asgard and kill Hela in the process. So I thought that was a good little twist. It wasn't just like, let's defeat Hela and save Asgard, and then everybody's like smiling and happy at the end, and it's like a bright sunny day or whatever, and then it cuts the credits and it's like directed by and playful song or whatever. It actually ends a little bit dark, like the Asgard's gone, like it's destroyed, the whole planet's gone, or the whole world is gone. So I thought that was interesting. You know, it was an interesting choice to just say, fuck it. It's not about the place, it's about the people. Even though the place is definitely way more interesting than most of the people. Who else did I not talk about? I didn't talk about Karl Urban's character. His character, like I said, he was a lackey. His character arc was that he's a lackey and he's kind of a coward. But later on in the movie, he actually ends up not being a coward and helps out the people on the ship that were trying to get off of Asgard. He kills all the mindless goons or whatever. Like the faceless guys. Like really, it's just a bunch of faceless like minions he fights off, and then he gets immediately killed by Hela, which I was upset about because I really wanted Karl Urban to be maybe like the new side character in the Thor series, but no, they killed him off, so that sucks. I love Karl Urban, so, but I was happy to see him in it. You know, he played a good character too. I actually liked his character because he had a little bit of depth, not too much, but you know, like his characters. You know, in the beginning, he wants more out of his life, I guess, and then Hela shows up. He's like, okay, I'll just kneel down, and she's like, all right, you'll be my minion. And he was like, okay. And you can tell he doesn't want to be, doesn't want to hurt these people, but he doesn't want to die either. And then at the end, he's just like, oh, fuck it. And he pulls out 2 guns. It's dope. And he calls the guns Des and Troy. So you combine them together, it's Destroy. That's a line in the movie. It's cheesy, but I liked it. And Karl Urban did a good job delivering it. But overall, it's a fun movie. It really is. Idris Elba's great in it too as Heimdall. He's back again too. And it's good to see Idris Elba in a good movie again because he hasn't had a good movie in a little while. Even though I heard Molly's Game is really good, but that's not out yet. Is there anything else I forgot to talk about? Tom Hiddleston as Loki is still charming as ever. He's great. He really is. And his relationship with him, Thor and Loki. I mean, his relationship with Thor, Chris Hemsworth's character, is still really solid. Their relationship is getting a little taxing at times because it's always like, are you going to betray me, Loki? And then Loki's like, no. And then he betrays him. But they kind of play that as a joke at one point where Thor's just like, I know you're going to betray me. And he's just like, no. And then he betrays him, but Thor already knew it. and he gets the upper hand on Loki. And I thought that was kind of funny. Overall, yeah, it's a really good movie. It's really fun. I highly recommend you go check it out. I mean, you're going to see it anyway, so there's no point. I give it, I'm going to give this, thinking about it more after all the side character stuff, I'm going to give it a 34 out of 40. I think it's a really fun film. Go check it out. I'm going to see it again tomorrow because it really is a movie that, like, you just need at a time like this after so many shit films. Like, and so many movies that are supposedly really good, like Thank You for Your Service and stuff like that, just bombing completely. Like, you need a movie that you'll have a crowd and have a good time. Still see those other movies like Only the Brave and Thank You for Your Service, but sometimes you want to be in a theater with other people, you know, that are having a good time too. That isn't a terrible fucking film like Boo 2. And also, Boo 2, I wouldn't have minded if everybody was having a good time if the people in the theater weren't such dickheads about it, just talking and talking and talking. Like, I'm okay with that. Happy Death Day, even though it was annoying, they were having a good time, and it was a good film. It was a solid film. It wasn't really. It was good. It was good. But it was a fun time. I highly recommend it, especially if you can get get IMAX tickets. Definitely. This movie would look amazing in IMAX. There you go. That's Thor Ragnarok. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to that next one, Black Panther. That looks good. The second trailer looks good, at least. Of course, my theater sucks, so they showed the first trailer again, which was a good trailer, but the second trailer is so good. I've watched that so many times at this point. Yeah, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and until next time, goodbye. Goodbye.